everyone, welcome to Awkward Author. My name is Alyssa Grasso, and this is my weekly vlog and podcast about my sometimes awkward, always awesome author life. I did pause there before saying weekly because, as you know, if you are a regular watcher or listener, I haven't been here in a few weeks. I have not put out any new episodes, and as I said in the last episode that I did put out, which was I guess at the end of June, that I was going to take a little summer hiatus and get some work done on some other things, including my book that I'm still working on. I'll get to that in a bit, but I guess I'm back. I was debating whether or not I was gonna take the full summer off, like take the whole month of August off as well, and I decided to get back to making regular content. So, I have a lot to share with you this week. Well, not too much, but I do have an author income report. I'll share with you some news on the progress I've made on my book, and some other plans and stuff that I have going on. So, as I believe I said in my last video, one of the reasons that I was taking a break from putting new episodes out there was I really wanted to focus on getting my book done. And the book that I'm working on is the second book in a 3-book trilogy, and I set a goal for myself of finishing it by the end of July, and it is August 6th as I am recording this, probably August 7th when I'll actually put it out there. And my book is not yet complete. It is very close to being done, I will say that, but close is not the same thing as being done. And I can make all kinds of excuses, and maybe I will. I don't know. I mean, one of the reasons that it isn't complete, I'll say, is because I ended up changing some things, and that meant actually rewriting some things that I had already rewritten, so that was like extra work for myself. If you are a regular listener or watcher, you know that I like to outline. I don't know that I'd say my outlines are extensive. There are probably people who do a lot more thorough outlining than I do, but I do go through and basically outline my book chapter by chapter, just have a little bit of a guide so that I know that, what is happening in each chapter. And there are those of you who are against outlining, one of the critiques I hear of outlining is that it disrupts the creative process, the creative flow. Like you don't feel like you can just, I don't know, you don't have the freedom, I guess, to create stuff. And of course, everyone has different writing styles, and for some people that may be the case. But for me, what happens, even with my outlining, I'll get to a point where I'm just like, wouldn't this be better if, and next thing you know, I'm like, okay, I gotta change all this, I gotta change all that. So that is something that happens even with an outline, because you have an idea in your head of how you want things to go, but then as you're working on things, like, stuff will develop, and you'll see maybe connections that you didn't see when you were outlining, when you're actually writing, and things that might work better in a different way. So, there are things that I have changed that I've already rewritten, and there's some stuff that I have to go back and rewrite, more minor things, really, nothing like a super huge overhaul, just gotta change some details, but there's multiple places where I have to change those details, kind of thing. And this is just a first draft, and like I said, it's a 3-book trilogy. I've written the first draft of the first book in the trilogy, so this is I'm working on the first draft of the second book in the trilogy, and I'll actually hopefully get the third book, the first draft of the third book, done before I go back and do any editing on any of them, because there's probably stuff that's going to change. I mean, there is a character and a storyline that goes through all 3 books, and, as I'm working and changing things, there's stuff that I'm going to have to go back and fix in like the first book, and probably as I'm doing the third one, I might go back and change things in the second book, that sort of thing, so that everything fits together. So, I outline, but then I change things along the way. And, some people are a slave maybe to their outline. I'm not. And of course, my outlines, like I said, are not super detailed. So there is quite a bit of room for creativity there. By the way, my apologies if, first of all, the lighting I know is not great today. I'm sorry about that if you're watching this. It is an overcast day out there. It's morning, but it's a cloudy morning, and I have the window open here, and I don't know if my microphone is going to pick up all the critters outside, the frogs and crickets and whatnot. That is the chorus, the background noise of summer, at least here in Pennsylvania. But hopefully that isn't too overwhelming, and hopefully there isn't any other loud noises going on outside, which could happen at any point, honestly. But yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about excuses for why I haven't finished my book. And, the other basically ongoing general excuse is just, being busy. And for me, mainly that is my actual source of income as opposed to the author stuff, which, I cannot live on at all at this point. So, I have a regular, well, it's not regular. There's nothing regular about it. I don't know why I said regular. I have a sort of day job, a day business, if you will. And because I am self-employed, yes, I get to make my own schedule, but also it means, sometimes they're going to be busier than others. And, I kind of schedule certain days for working, but that doesn't always happen. So like, for example, this week, I wanted to be able to write on Monday, which was yesterday. So to be able to have basically the whole day devoted to writing, which is what I did, I had to work, over the weekend scrambling to, get stuff. I had to, a whole bunch of stuff I had to pack up and ship out. And so I had to get all that stuff done. Well, I had to list it, pack it, then ship it, and get all that done over the weekend so UPS could come on Monday, pick it up, get it out of here, and I could sit at my computer and type. So so that meant sometimes on the weekends I do get some writing time in. There was no writing going on over the weekend, I'll tell you that, because I was pretty busy, at least in the morning, Saturday and Sunday with that stuff, and then in the afternoons I did, it wasn't all work and no play. I got to hang out with my boyfriend, and we went to the park and stuff like that. So we had, there was some relaxation time too on the weekend. I don't want to make it sound like I'm, burning myself, burn the candle at both ends or whatever. But, I do have to make sure I can get the business stuff done, because that is where my income is. And so that was what I did this week, so I could have Monday for writing, because the previous week I just didn't have time to write on Monday. I had to, get stuff done for work, and there just wasn't, enough hours in the day to do everything. And so, my day for writing was Wednesday. And then when Wednesday came around, I really just, I wasn't in, I don't know, I just wasn't in a good writing mode or something. I wrote, that was my plan for the day, so I definitely sat down, button chair, to do the work, but it was definitely coming at a slower pace than normal. And that might have been because I was at a point where there were things like, I'm not sure about this, should I change this, that kind of thing. So that can definitely trip you up, which is one reason I like outlining, because before I did that kind of outlining that I do now, something that would happen pretty often to me is you get to a certain point, for me it's usually the middle of a novel, and you feel a little bit lost. How the story begins, how it ends, and it's the stuff in the middle that for me trips me up a little bit. And I can figure it out, but I end up spending a lot of time figuring out. I end up writing a lot of stuff that ends up getting deleted, and I just go off on these tangents that aren't really taking me in the direction I need to go. So for me, when I write an outline, that is one reason it helps me, because I can just sit down. I'm like, I look at my notes. This is what has to happen in this chapter, and I write, hopefully. But that wasn't happening last Wednesday. I got work done, but nowhere near as much work as I wanted to get done. Now, the other thing I wanted to add is after I put out my last episode that I put out the end of June, pretty much right after that, in fact, I think before I even had that uploaded, I went ahead and broke my website now. So I manage my website myself. I use a WordPress site, and I had at that time hosting through GoDaddy, which I don't have anymore. But so I tried to update something. I don't even remember what I tried to update. But anyway, in doing that, I crashed the whole website, and then it was like I couldn't even like get it back online. Like normally you can do some recovery thing and get it back up, and it wasn't working. I was spending, I don't know how much time I spent trying to get it to work, but I was like, getting really frustrated, wasting all this time on it. So I finally went ahead and, hired someone online, who could fix it. And honestly, that is a big challenge too, is like finding someone to hire to do it. And I actually, I found this gentleman who fixed it for me. He was an independent contractor. He's based in the UK, and when you're looking for like developers, WordPress help, and you Google it, you get like these like scammy sites coming up that are like, I want someone I can be able to like talk to, and who speaks my language and who can hopefully figure this out. So he was great. He had it up and running within, it was actually like July 4th. I mean, I know that's not a holiday over there, but for me it was a holiday, so like things were kind of shut down here, which I guess maybe is a good time to break your website. I mean, if you're going to break your website, you might as well do it on a holiday, right? So I had good timing there, I guess. No, I don't know. But basically, like, he had it up and going in a day. And what I ended up doing is, because I had broken the website and had been planning kind of on changing web hosts, because like when I was with GoDaddy, I've been with them so long, I was on like this like really old server, and then like to upgrade the server, like my price was going to go up like astronomically, like crazy high amount, more than 10 times the price I was paying. And I was like, that's not really worth it. So I switched to Bluehost for hosting the site, which I used for some other things I do. So anyway, I have a site up and running. I still have to make some updates to it. So if you do go on there and see anything that's a little quirky, of course let me know about it. But I will hopefully be fixing things without, fingers crossed, without breaking anything else. But that's kind of, now that's up and running, I've kind of been like, okay, well, I'll deal with that at another time. And so that's where I am with that. But yeah, there was, several hours that Alyssa wasted in trying to figure out what she'd done wrong, trying to correct it and get the website back up and running. And so, that, it's funny because it was like, I just made the decision, like, oh, I'm going to like not do this podcast so that I can have all this extra time this month to get my writing done, get this work done. And then I was like spending all this time on the stupid website of mine just because I made some like one second little stupid mistake somehow that like broke everything. So yeah, that was pretty frustrating for me. So yeah, that's my excuses for why I have not completed the novel yet. Word count wise, where am I? Like maybe 66,000 words or so. I think I originally said it was gonna be like a 75,000 word book. I'm thinking now probably 70,000, closer to 70,000 words. It's gonna come in at. I don't think there's too much stuff I have to go back and add. There's more like stuff I have to go back and change, but that's not really gonna change the word count much, I don't think. So that is where I am on my work in progress. Now, one other thing I've kind of done during this hiatus is think about, a publishing schedule, publishing plans for these books, and maybe going forward as well. And, the idea is to put out the whole trilogy, not at one time, but, one right after the other kind of thing. So my goal, and I do hope I can stick to this, is to get these books out in 2020, the new year, and really starting in January. And so my hope is to put out the first book in the trilogy in January, the second in February, the third in March. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Right now, that is the plan. And then I'd like to also get some standalone thrillers out as well next year. I have a few that I've started, and well, that's another reason I haven't gotten as much work done on my book as I want to, is because at least like 1 week in there, I just was very distracted with this other idea I had. And, this has always been a problem of mine, is to stay focused on a single project. I've definitely gotten much better about it, but every once in a while you just have like an idea in your head and you want to get some stuff down. And so that was, there was at least one day where I should have been working on my work in progress, and I took that time to, jot down some notes, write some, preliminary chapters for this other book, because, it's an idea I've had for a long time, but just for some reason, like, that week, the muse was calling me to write that, so, that was what I decided to work on a little bit there, and so, getting distracted, it's a problem, and I was able to get back on track with my project, so I don't think it really, hurt me too much, but also it's, if you're trying to meet a goal, probably not a good idea to suddenly start writing another book, so, don't do as I do as I say, I guess. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I do want to get some standalone thrillers out there. This may be way too lofty a goal, especially considering how, I'm doing on my writing progress, but I've been thinking like, I'll get those the 3 books in the trilogy out, and then I'll get 3 standalone thrillers out as well. So if you're, doing the math, that's 6 books next year. The fact that like I've written, 7 novels so far, in my entire life, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but we'll see how it goes. And obviously, nothing at all is carved in stone, so, stuff may get changed all around. Just an interesting thing. I don't even remember what I was doing, but like the end of last week, I went to go look up something on my book, like the Amazon listing for Girl Most Likely to Succeed. And when I pulled it up, I noticed that Amazon had the hardcover on sale. The hardcover, I think, is priced at like normally $22, I believe, something like that, which is self-published. It's my book. I have the hardcover with Ingram Spark, and, so Ingram distributes it. And so, I set the price on it, and this was Amazon, not a third-party seller. This was Amazon, had the hardcover discounted to $6.22, I think it was, or $6 and change. I don't remember the exact number, but, it's a weird amount because it's Amazon. They do some weird things. And also it was like, why, how, I don't know. So anyway, I tweeted about it and posted on Facebook, but it was like, I wouldn't have known it if I hadn't been looking up something about my book and, just happened to see it. So, I always feel like, I've said this since, like, I was, traditionally published. Like, I've always felt like I'm, like, the last person to know, news about my books. So it was, when I was traditionally published, once in a while, my publisher would put, like, one of the ebooks on sale now. Somewhat that's changed now, but back then, ebooks were, priced at basically the same price as the paperback, $9.99. So that's pretty high for an ebook, right? And then sometimes they would just put them on sale for $1.99 or something like that. But they wouldn't tell the authors this, so you would just find this out randomly, and you would think maybe if you were trying to run some promo like that, you might want to tell the authors so they could use, like, their established social network. Now, admittedly, like, I don't have a ton of followers on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, but still, I would have, like, put out promo stuff out there if they had told me about it in advance. And so, yeah, I mean, I did, tweet about stuff when I happened to discover these things by, random chance, but, yeah, it was never anything I was informed about, so it is interesting. It's an interesting world, and as far as, like, how my hardcover went on sale, my best guess is the fact that Amazon had it and had it in stock. I guess when the book came out, I was doing some promo for it, and it was actually selling And so maybe Amazon seeing that actually ordered in a couple of the hardcovers, or a couple, I don't know how many, half a dozen, who knows, to have them on hand so that they could ship them out Prime, because otherwise, it's coming from Ingram, there's a delay, and, Amazon does value that, Prime service if they have them in stock, and somebody buys it, they can, send it right out. It is now August, and I know for a fact that this time of year what's going on is Amazon is starting to get all the Christmas merchandise in. It's that time of year. I know it's August. You don't want to think about Christmas, but believe me, it is. We're already hearing the Christmas music in our heads right now, as we plan out our holiday buying and selling stuff, and so. Right now, Amazon is trying to clear out as much inventory from their warehouses as they can, so they have enough room for all the Christmas stuff that's going to be coming in. And so even though it's only maybe a handful of books they have there, they want to move those out, so they drop the price to, bargain $6 and try to move those out. I do believe they sold out at that price. I don't know if it's from any promo I did, because when I happened to look yesterday, I think it was, or this morning, I don't even remember now, it's all blurring together now, but the price was back up to the list price, so yeah. Again, no reason that I know, I don't know anything about this, last to know, but hopefully some people got some, bargain copies of my book. I don't know that even affects my earnings from it, because like I said, these were not being sold by Ingram, they were being sold by Amazon, which means Amazon had to get them into stock somehow, and so I probably already made my money on those, is my guess. But speaking of making money, how'd you like that segue? Speaking of making money, it is time for my latest author income report, which is the money I made from selling my books online, my self-published books, in the month of July 2019, because it is August 2019 as I'm making this. And I will tell you, July for sellers tends to be a very slow month, okay? We have, people going on vacation. It's just not really a time when people are buying stuff. Maybe they're buying suntan lotion or pool floats or beach towels, but even that, they probably bought that in June, because by July, people are really into summer vacation mode. It really isn't a huge month for online shopping. I know that as a seller. Maybe by the end of the month, you're starting to get into back to school type stuff is starting to move, but basically July is pretty dead, I will have to say. So I'm not surprised to see, my sales numbers are definitely lower this month than normal. And as you know, they're not great to begin with. So let me get to, what I earned in July from selling my books online. Most of my money came from Amazon. No surprise there, because every month, most of my income comes from Amazon. So on Amazon, in the month of July, I made, this is not a typo of mine here, I made $69.69, $69.69, that's exactly what it came to. And this was mostly ebooks, $54.83 from ebooks, and $14.76 from paperbacks. Almost all the US, about $1.60 worth of that from the UK, and $6.83 from Australia. So yeah, Amazon was far and away where I sold the most books this month. I sold also this month on Apple and Kobo. It looks like a single book in each place. On Apple, that led to me making a whole, are you ready for it, $1.40. And on Kobo, which I haven't sold anything on Kobo in forever, so it's kind of exciting to see an actual Kobo sale come through, even though it's a single book, and I made $2.09 from Kobo. So if you're doing the math, that means in the month of July, I made a grand total of $73.18 from my books, which, I mean, I guess for doing no promo is good, but obviously I'd like to be making more. So that is why I am working on a trilogy, why I am planning on putting out quite a few books next year, if I can. and also, thinking about marketing strategies, which is, is part of my planning too. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in upcoming episodes as I get a little closer to releasing these books, which is going to be some time from now. But anyway, I do thank you for watching or for listening to this episode. I'm glad to be back, and I plan on putting out a new episode next week. So I hope you will tune in for that as well. If you would like to know more about me, you can check out my website, which is alysagrosso.com. That's ALISSAGROSSO.com. And hopefully I don't break it again so that you can actually see it. But once again, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great week. I hope you are enjoying summertime fun and, whatever you're doing. I hope your projects are going great. I hope you're just having a great summer, everyone. So I will catch up with you again next week. Bye for now.